Unus Annus.
This is the Wong Baker Faces Pain Rating Scale.
Look on the scale. I want you to tell me, where's your face on this scale? No hurt? Hurts a little bit? Hurts a little more? Hurts even more? Hurts a whole lot? Or hurts worst?
It's actually a self-awareness test. He's holding up the card in front of your face. He's like, now what are you rating yourself? Oh, sorry, no, you're at a 4. We have got various painful experiences in picture form that we have experienced throughout our life. We're gonna talk about the rating of the pain so that you guys have an objective understanding of our thresholds for pain, and then you can understand why I'm not a masochist. You can understand just that I've been through painful experiences, and
I disagree.
I will start off with the warm-up.
Okay.
Paintball stung real bad, but to be perfectly honest, not that painful. I'd probably just put that at like maybe 3.5.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it hurt, but it didn't last. That's the thing.
When we were out there and I was like, did that really hurt? You were like, that hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And you had your serious Mark voice, and I went, I'm afraid of serious Mark.
All right, I'll put it at a 4, like, if that makes you feel better.
I mean, I don't want to pressure you. I'm just saying.
Just
what
a
you
little
said.
below a 4. It's coming at you hard and fast, right? Like coming at you real hard.
I love the sound of a paintball.
It smacks you right in there, and then it explodes. I don't know. But it's over. Once it's done, it's just a sting. Like, it's only surface level. You'll get a welt, but like it's no more than like someone hitting you with a stick.
You're telling me that a paintball doesn't hurt more than you getting hit with a stick?
Well, okay, I don't know what wimpy baby is hitting you with a stick. Like, are you like a toddler? Like, oh. No, I'm talking like your friend has a stick. It's like, oh, psh, or your school marm is like, you haven't been studying this guy.
School marm.
You didn't have a school marm?
No. I broke my hand. Surprisingly, it didn't hurt that much.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think like adrenaline kicked in. The thing that hurt was afterwards. And the day after I broke my hand, it was still swollen, but I went to Universal Studios and someone recognized me there and they gave me a really, really firm handshake. And that hurt so fucking bad. I started tearing up. That hurt way more than actually breaking my hand. I'm going to put at...
Stop blocking my light!
What?
My light! You always lean forward, you don't need to.
Okay. I'm gonna put this at a 5. It definitely hurt, but it wasn't as bad as I would think breaking a bone is. Because that's the only time I've broken a bone.
That's like a 4.6.
That's in the middle.
No, it's not in the middle. Not even close to in the middle.
That's the middle. That is the middle.
All right, I'm gonna do an experiment here. Just gonna take this, go hit shift. Oh, wait, no, not in the middle. Weird how that is.
Does anyone care?
I care!
Weird how that is. All right, go.
All right, another Reese, as I call it. Acupuncture. Now this was nothing. Like this was next to nothing. Like I think donating blood hurts more, and that doesn't even hurt. I'm putting this at like a 1.
As many of you know, I did gymnastics, and one of the events is the pommel horse. That's a pommel horse. So these up here are the pommels, and you swing around on them. Those are usually made of very solid wood. And on pommel horse, you're swinging around and your legs are going around. I bashed my fucking shins on the very solid wood so many times, and you're swinging around, so you're going really fast. So that really, really hurts. That is probably, like on the bigger swings, I'd put that at like a 7.
That's a 7 though?
It hurts so bad. Okay, maybe not a 7. See, it's hard to see because my face was worse than that.
Smack!
I'll put it at a 6.
Let's go into things that I've talked about, but I've never really explained. Now, I was cooking chicken wings one day, and I stupidly, after the thermometer broke, mercury got in the oil, I was like, oh shit, I gotta dump this. And I almost went to dump it in the sink, and I'm like, oh my god, that'd be a terrible idea. Oh, stupid me. I need to cool it down first. So I ended up pouring water.
You put water in it?
Yeah, it bubbled all over my hands. And so I got second-degree burns all over my palms, splattering all over my hands and stuff.
When was this?
2010. I think it was 2010 that this happened. So I burnt my hands. Now, the thing about this is the instantaneous pain I didn't feel just because of the adrenaline rush. I didn't even think I was that badly hurt until about a minute and a half later, when this agonizingly like spastic pain that would come in waves. And the weird thing was, it would cramp my hands, and then it would cramp up and my hands would squeeze like this, and it hurt worse because it's squeezing the burns, and then it'd let go, and then it just squeeze it again. So bizarre. I had blisters about this big, and I had to be in the hospital for a day because they were like, you might have 3rd degrees. We don't know.
Yeah.
We can't see under all the blisters. I would put that at a 6.5. I'll put it at a 7. You know, just because it was an extended, all the maintenance and shit that I had to do, that hurt. But I had painkillers at the same time.
Cool. Similarly, when you're doing things on high bar and parallel bars and stuff like that, you get like crazy big calluses, and then those calluses rip. So I had a rip on my hand that was my entire palm, and it was my entire palm, and it was like pretty deep in there. And so it was a huge rip, the worst rip that I had ever gotten. And so my coach pulled me aside, and he was like, we have to clean this. And then he took out a bottle of hydrogen peroxide, and he said, this won't hurt. I almost passed out. I think this might be the most painful thing I've ever had happen.
Yeah.
Because like I immediately like went white in the face and started to fall back because it hurt so bad. So I'm gonna put it at like a 9.5. That was awful. That was so terrible. Yeah, that was great. And then I couldn't like do anything with my hand for a bit.
Oh. Let's get a few. I'm gonna do a little lightning round. B, 3 for B. Wasp for me hurts a little more than a B. They're badass, but to be honest, it's not that much worse. Ice bath, it's not a pain. It's just
uncomfortable.
It's just uncomfortable. I'd put it like this for hurt you a little bit.
Another gymnastics one. These are grips. You wear them on your hands. They're made of leather. We would get grip slapped, so people would just come up and hit you in the face with them. That hurt a little bit. That was just like a big sting all at once. I'll do B's as well. Bees don't really hurt that much. Another gymnastics, well, most of mine are gymnastics ones. This is a vault. This is not the correct vault. Mark got this. I ran full speed and I missed the springboard and just like went into my chest. That hurt a lot. I didn't break anything at all, but it just like knocked the wind out of me. I'll put that like right there. Okay. Airsoft gun. That's like a 4 maybe.
Now for some big boys. Let's talk about my intestinal blockage. I was home in Cincinnati, and suddenly I went, ooh, ouch, ouch, something hurts. And I was like, ah, man, I got a cramp or stomach ache or something like that. And then it just wouldn't go away. And it only got worse. Like within an hour, I was doubled over in pain, and I was just like, this is not going away. I got a big poop coming through. But what happened was scar tissue from my previous surgery had become dislodged. It snapped during like movement or something, like, and then it was attached to my intestines, and when it snapped, it pulled and it cinched off my intestines. And basically it was just the poop, and my body couldn't get through, so it was just building up and it was swelling my intestines, and the increasing pain was just from the stretching of my intestine. Either way, I got in the hospital. It was awful because the only solution was surgery.
Yeah.
And the only solution to relieve the symptoms was to suck it out from the other side. So they put a line down my nose.
That's like one of the most unpleasant things ever, isn't it?
It sucked because they when they put it in, they had a doctor in training put it in.
Why?
So,
why?
So he goes down, he's up my left nostril, and he's just like shoving it in, and I feel him hit the back of my nose, like right at my skull, and he's like, "Pah, pah." And I'm like, oh, fuck. And he's like, it's not going down. And then he gives up. He pulls it out. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna try the other nose. Pah, pish. I hear something crack, and it's just like, oh, and it's going down. And that sucked. I was in the hospital for maybe like 2-3 days. This is a long ass story, but for the duration of time, that sucked. I'll put that in an 8.
I got roundhouse kicked in the face. That hurt a lot. That's gonna go at like a 6. That really was not great. I've held on to a dog shock collar a couple of times and gotten shocked. That's not fun. It's not too bad though. I'll put that at like a 4. I have split my head open like 5 times. This one I think was I was running in my dad's office and they had tile into the kitchen, so I was sliding into it and then I slipped and smashed my head against the corner of the wall. But that wasn't the most painful part. The most painful part was going in and they were like, oh, we can't do stitches, we gotta do staples. And so I was a child, and so my dad knew that I wasn't gonna let them do that. So he tricked me and got a popsicle and was like, Ethan, do you want a popsicle? And I was like, of course I want a popsicle. And I start eating the popsicle. And then the doctor comes from behind me and just and staples my head. And I was like, what just happened? And then I just started screaming. It was terrible. I'll put it like a 6.3.
Little lightning round for me. Broke my arm. I put the 5. Hot sauce. There's hot sauce called Flashbang. Hold that for me. Right there, that's good. I also cracked my skull open as a kid, jumping off the stairs. I don't remember it. It didn't actually, I don't remember it hurting at all. All I remember is there was a lot of blood. Okay, so this is my tumor removal. It's not the actual removal of it. It was after.
Is this before or after the intestine?
Before. This is what caused this.
Ooh.
I had a tumor in my adrenal gland. It was about half the size of a fist. It's called a ganglioneuroma. It's a tumor made of nerve cells, which is apparently very rare. My appendix was about to explode. Similarly.
Jesus
So they
Christ.
found this tumor because I had that, and they did a CAT scan in my stomach. I was in the hospital, and they were like, okay, your appendix needs to come out. It's about to burst. Also, you have a tumor. Don't worry about that right now. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on there.
Just casually toss that in there.
Yeah. But long story short, I get it out. It's fine. When I wake up, for the first day, I had a little bit of a problem. I actually had an epidural for this, which is a direct tap into the spine to deliver painkillers. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I know. It just like makes me like shiver.
Yeah. The problem was it was causing my leg to go numb, which is not good. I couldn't walk because my legs just wouldn't work. So they made a change to the painkiller. They were going to decrease the amount of anesthetic. They actually ended up decreasing both. So I was on no painkiller immediately after my surgery. This was not only was it one of the most painful experiences of my life, the problem was no doctor believed me. So the doctors would constantly check the epidural. They'd send nurses in there, check the machinery. It's like, it's giving you pain killers. It's giving you the fluids. We see the bag draining. Like we can't give you any more. And I kept telling them for a day and a half, I kept telling them, like, I am in so much pain. I'm in agony. I got to the point where I was afraid I was going to die. A doctor came in, pissed off because he was like, this guy keeps complaining. And he comes in and he feels around for damage. And when I say he feels around, he just goes and starts grabbing. And for those who know, I have like a 5-inch like incision right here. This is a day after surgery. He just like grabs and like feels around. I, like you, almost passed out, like just from the pain, just blinding white pain.
It's so weird because like it doesn't. You can recognize that it's pain, but with stuff like that, like you don't really even feel it. Your brain is just like, nope, this is too much. You're just gonna.
Yeah, it's just like these waves of pain.
Yeah,
and like I couldn't even speak, so I couldn't even tell him like that it hurt. I was just like couldn't breathe. And so he's like, there's no bleeding.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do.
I imagine you didn't sleep.
I did, because they knocked me out. And they gave me Valium because that was like the only thing they could give me. But that was also unfortunate because I had a central line in my neck. Did I tell you this story? This is why I have a huge scar on my neck when I used to drink. Like this would get red a lot, and sometimes this just gets red because the central line attaches to your artery and it reads your pulse directly and your blood pressure. I ripped it out when I was sleeping. Yeah, so like I don't remember doing this at all. Apparently I scratched and dug until I tore away the skin and then pulled the line out.
Ah!
And then I don't remember any of this. This is just, I was told this. Blood everywhere because it's an artery.
Yeah.
So
Jesus. So like you could have bled out.
I could have, yeah, but I didn't. I wouldn't have remembered it.
Like how you have these stories. I'm like, yeah, I hit my shins really hard.
It wasn't until the next morning that the person working the pharmacy came in and they checked over my file specifically and they were like, this medication is wrong. Because it was time for a refill and they're like, there's no painkiller in this, is this right? And the person working the pharmacy was Tyler's mom.
Whoa, that's crazy.
The only reason that she checked is because she was checking in on me because she knew I was in the hospital and she works in the pharmacy. Suddenly, all the doctors were like, hey, buddy. They gave me Dilaudid, which is like 8 times more powerful than morphine every hour after that.
God.
And that took the edge off.
Could you even speak at that point? Or were you just like,
It was a lot better. It still hurt, but you know, my pain was managed.
That's such a crazy coincidence.
It's like just an insane story. But that is the worst pain I've ever felt. It hurt more than the intestine thing, and it lasted so long. And it was also just the hopelessness of it because no one believed me. And it wasn't until a family friend that worked in the hospital said something that something changed. Yeah.
I have never really been in the hospital. I can tell you wasn't necessarily a pain, but like the 2 times that I've gone into anaphylactic shock from having an allergic reaction was like the scariest thing, but you're in shock, so you really don't feel anything. I stopped breathing, which was very spooky.
Peanut.
And then I did this peanut allergy research study in Boston where it was immunotherapy. So over the course of 2 years, they started with a super like microscopic dose of peanut. And then they slowly raised it over the 2 years. But they were like, we need to see what your baseline is. And so they basically were like, you can tell us to stop whenever you want, but we need you to eat as many peanuts as you can. And basically like until your comfort level or until you go into shock. And so I was like, okay, I'm really gonna do it. So I just went until I passed out. It was just like my body was just covered in hives. I was like extremely bloated. And they were like, we would like you to keep going. If you're too uncomfortable, you can stop. And I was like, no, I'll keep going. But I was just throwing up everywhere because my body was like, you shouldn't be putting this inside you. Stop. Yeah, until I went into shock. So that was great.
A weird Captain America thing. I can take it.
Yeah, so that was great.
Oh, I forgot about my heart attack. Oh yeah, wait.
Is there a picture of like an old man clutching his chest?
Yeah, we're old man. Where's that? There it is. That's
There
the guy.
he is.
That's the guy. So the only reason I thought of it is because like this would be the only time I could think that I went into shock. All I know is that my heart wasn't working right and I fainted. Didn't really hurt, but that's the one time I remember like feeling shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the pain scale.
Yeah.
Hopefully in this next year, we won't add anything onto this list.
So I'm gonna add some things.
All right. Hopefully I don't add anything onto this list.
Oh, you're gonna add things.
Great. Hopefully none of these sad boys. Maybe like a face. You know, that I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
Maybe even a 6. Yeah.
And just to clarify, like I hope this explains, like I'm not a masochist. I've just been through pain. And I'm aware of like what's not gonna kill me, like, and I have a very like the mindset of just like, I'll survive it. So whatever it is, not so bad.
Yeah.